professor of security and diplomacy at Curtin University. Professor, it's really good seeing you. So we're seeing a list of Trump loyalists emerging. Was this expected?
Good afternoon, Afnan. Well, look, this is very interesting. This is a hardline approach he's using. The first time around, Donald Trump was a bit of an amateur. He brought on board a lot of alpha men and women. And of course, that didn't work out. You know, if everybody's alpha, sooner or later they're going to argue with each other. But he brought in some people that are, well, very unusual. I mean, the new representative to the United Nations, you know, has no experience in foreign affairs. The former congressman who's coming in to run the Environmental Protection Agency wants to unravel it while he's there, so there's no surprises there. The National Security Advisor, unlike Jake Sullivan, who is an intellectual from Ivy League universities, is a former military officer in Green Beret, so that'll be kind of a two-fisted approach to Iran and other issues in the Middle East and in Russia. And then now we have Marco Rubio, who I think is a great choice, by the way. Rubio is would be the highest placed Hispanic in American history. As Secretary of State, he'd be fifth in line for the American presidency if there's ever a disaster. And he ran against President Trump in 2016. Trump kind of worked him over, but Rubio is kind of a self-made man. He comes from 2 Cuban immigrants who came over in the mid-1950s. He didn't go to the Ivy League. He went to one of the junior colleges, then got a degree in political science from the University of Florida. So, you know, he's a local boy who's done well. He's also a hawk on China, a hawk on Iran, and he is a genius at Latin America. He speaks, of course, fluent Spanish. And so, you know, it'll be an area that the president can turn to. It's been always much maligned and always ignored in American foreign policy. So we can spend more time on that. I think it's a good choice. It's going to settle people down. And while his cabinet or his appointees are hard line, some of them have a very good reputation among the establishment on Wall Street and in other places. Now, some of them really don't know what they're doing. But look, you know, the president of the United States, Efnan, only needs 2 requirements, and to be 35 years old and born in the United States. So it's not a real high bar to be president. But I'll tell you what, you got to have a good reputation to get into these other positions, and they are going to be very influential.
Right. It's an interesting lineup so far. But I mean, Trump is going to be facing a lot of pressing issues as he goes into the Oval Office in January. One of the international global issues that he's going to play a big role in is going to be, of course, the wars taking place in the Middle East. He's a firm supporter of Israel. I mean, looking at this lineup that he has, especially by choosing Elise Stefanik as his United Nations ambassador, what can we expect from the Trump administration regarding Israel's wars in Gaza and in Lebanon?
Yeah, he is first and foremost, he's a pragmatist, and he wants to stop the hemorrhaging in the Middle East. He doesn't like the daily reports of death, and he doesn't want to be complicit in war crimes and the like. And he's going to put a lot of pressure on Israel to stop what they're doing. I mean, Trump's got a very large view. He spent his first administration trying to forge a bridge between Saudi Arabia and Israel. And this constant bloodletting in the Middle East doesn't serve him well. You know, he is a good friend of Israel, but you know, I think he will call a halt to it. Same thing in Russia. He wants to bring a halt to the killing. You know, these kinds of wars do not serve Donald Purpose's worldview. I mean, his worldview is to look for some deal to make the world go a little more, a little further, and a little more prosperous. So I think when Bibi Netanyahu has a conversation with Trump, he's going to have to listen very closely to what he's saying. Same thing with Putin.
Indeed. Professor Joe Siracusa, always a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for being with me on the program.
Thank you.